Guys, with all the hype of the Mandalorian new episode that dropped today, I almost forgot. There's a SWTOR live stream Cantina now. These Cantina events usually take place in different places around the world. I'm missed the stream, so I'm gonna catch it right now in a couple minutes, and we're gonna find out what we have in store for the next game update, 6.2 Echoes of Vengeance. Stay tuned. Greetings, citizens of the galaxy. Welcome to SWTOR Gaming.
Welcome.
I believe the Force has guided you to me.
Who we truly are is defined by our actions.
After introductions by Eric Musco, the community manager, Charles Boyd, story director, and Keith Koenig, the project director, we're treated to an interview by Carrie Walgren, she's a voice acting legend who's done voices in Samurai Champloo, Furikuri, Rick and Morty, and most importantly for this game, she does the voice of the female Jedi Knight. So it's interesting to get that. It was supposed to be live, but they had it taped because they had to push back because the incident that happened in the offices for BioWare, I believe. But it was a really interesting interview. Next to interview, motion capture artist and voice actor Noshir Dalal. It's actually not his first time he worked on Star Wars The Old Republic, which I'll get into in a second, but most recently, before this new expansion, when you hear him play, I believe he's the son of Jakaya Ordo. So, no, not the son, the younger brother of Jakaya Ordo, which we met in, if you see the Echoes of Vengeance PTS, a video that I put up probably a couple days ago, then you'll see the intro where you see Jakaya Ordo talking to Mandalorian, trying to check out the commander to see who he is and see if Mandalore's safe with them. So this is his younger brother. So he's a hungry Mandalorian, young, trying to prove himself, trying to live up to his brother's legend and possibly surpass it. So we find out that also most people know Noshir Dalal from the most recent Star Wars game, Squadrons. I have not played it yet, so maybe you guys will be more familiar with that. But when pertaining to Star Wars The Old Republic, he's actually done work with them before. He does the motion capture for Arkin in the Sacrifice video. And he credits a lot of his creativity to be able to embody the character of Arkin in a lot of his ways that he fights, and his fury, his anger, his frustration at being constantly overlooked. He credits that to Darth Maul. His voiceover.
A man
can have anything if he's willing to sacrifice.
If he is willing to sacrifice.
That, little by little, told the whole entire story of Arkin, which was, like I said, was amazing. But we find that out from him. He's a martial artist as well, so that's great. And he's a huge Star Wars geek. Like, knows a lot about Legend stuff, about Legend stuff as well. So that's a guy, honestly, that I'd be looking forward to meet if they ever have another Cantina event. He seems cool, seems personable, and I'd like to see how he puts some of his own experiences into this character, because he talks about how he can relate to this character. Just like I guess he could have related to Arkin, but he could really relate to this character because he says his brother's, he's old, he's looking up to, constantly trying to compare to his real life older brother, Noshir Dalal's older brother, who's a successful lawyer. So he's trying to, he's always being compared to him, just like his character who he plays in The Old Republic is always being compared to Jakaya Ordo, who was this blooded Mandalorian veteran, hero. So it's something to look forward and see. Now, next we have the voice of Emperor Valkorion, Darren DePaul, which I met at last year's SWTOR 2019 Cantina event during Comic-Con weekend, and the video is up on this channel. I'll see if I can put a link to it, and then you guys take a look at that, and I'll tell you about my event snap. But next becomes the interview for Darren DePaul, the voice of Emperor Valkorion. Let's go take a look a little bit about him. I'll play a little quick clip, okay?
I'm also a big Star Wars geek, and we'll talk, I'll babble on about it at no end.
That's literally, most of our recording sessions are like, 20% the actual recording, and then, 80% us just being nerds together. Talking about
I still have my original Kenner figures, my action figures at home in New York. I had taken them out of boxes, but it's something that I had said before. I never played with toys all my life. I would line them up and look at them, and my mom would say, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm making stories up in my head." And I think that started me being, an action figure collector, and also part of performing. It's like I was telling stories in my head, and now we get to do that and share those stories with people, and I love it. It means a lot.
He's the one that really sold the Sacrifice trailer, and he explains how prior to trying out for the role of Emperor Valkorion, he had a role, an audition, in which he pretty much screamed his voice, so it was really hoarse, and it was low, and it was gravelly. You must choose. I can't get his voice right. It's going between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul, which is another one. If you guys want to get a kick, any of you guys who've seen Orange is the New Black, go look up the person who did the voice of Darth Maul. It'll blow your mind. But anyway, I met Darren DePaul last year at the New York City Cantina during Comic-Con, SWTOR New York City Cantina, and I'm telling you, he was amazing. He also does the voice, besides Valkorion, he's named after Daerun, General Darendalopolis Daerun, which is named after Darren DePaul himself. He's done voices in Overwatch. He's amazing. For a guy that has done so much, a legend in voice acting, he's really the most humble, down-to-earth guy you could possibly meet. And you see it, like it's refreshing to see someone like him not have a big head, but is constantly excited and thankful, and it's like nice. If you ever get a chance to meet him, I mean, he will sign everything. He signed my poster for Onslaught. I was able to meet Musco and Charles Boyd and Keith Kenning as well. So I would suggest anytime you guys can, if you're busy like me, working a lot, and take a little bit of time off and go to one of these cantinas. But putting that aside, talking about this, he's talking about his career during this interview and how he got started and how he got the voice of the role of Emperor Valkorion, and how long he's been with SWTOR, and how Charles Boyd's writing. Because what's very interesting, and I would try to tell a lot of people, if you've seen Rise of Skywalker and you like it, I suggest playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and maybe, I believe if you subscribe, you can skip up to level 75 and start the Knights of the Fallen Empire. Now, the ideas that are in the sequel trilogy, not a lot of them, are, I think, executed a little bit better of what they wanted to do in the Old Republic. And I honestly think that when they released it, it was like The Mandalorian, right? The Mandalorian is episodic. And even other commentator, Christian Harloff, actually said that if he hated Dave Filoni's episode on The Mandalorian on the first season, it was terrible. And ironically, we're coming up on Dave Filoni's other episode, day after Thanksgiving, this Friday, which is going to be 55 minutes long. Can't wait. But I digress. Same thing with Knights of the Fallen Empire. When Knights of the Fallen Empire came out, it was one episode, and then we're waiting a couple months till the other chapter came out, then another chapter. And so some people didn't like certain chapters, and so they didn't like the experience. Instead of being released all at once, they're like, well, we don't want you to have to wait so long for content. We're going to give you one at a time. And that's what happens. And I kind of felt that way a little bit. I think I tried to play the first chapter, and then there was nothing, and I was like, I can't. I gotta wait till this is fully through. And then, after many times that I've played it fully through, with that, and then Kote, it is possibly, I think, better in some cases than what you have as far as a story. Like have that saga-like in-depth Star Wars feel than you have in the original chapters. The original chapters play like a really good video game. This plays cinematic with some of the cutscenes that they had. And I'd like to see a future return to that. I mean, I think people were really harsh because people, in generally, especially in games, are harsh to begin with. But if you go back and just play it from end to end, it's a really good story. Considering the fact that Knights of the Eternal Throne got cut down, which should have been 13 more chapters. There's supposed to be another Sky Palace, which I guess was Valkorian's palace. There's a Palace of the Dragon, but there was supposed to be another Sky Palace, which we never got to see, not the command center or where the Eternal Throne is. I would have liked to see more of that. I mean, seeing from all the unused art from SWTOR, it's a missed opportunity. But they wanted to come back to the same struggle, you know, Republic versus Empire, Jedi versus Sith. We're here, but they're still doing more stuff. So maybe we can see some of that stuff going forward. So Darren DePaul talked about his life, his career, and it was just his excitement and enthusiasm for and passion for his work shines through. If you ever talk to him, they even said, they talk about how they met and how he put in his voice and they didn't see him, and then he showed up and like, wait, we weren't expecting this guy that looks like an accountant. Darren DePaul said same thing when they I guess first dropped the trailer Sacrifice for Knights of the Fallen Empire, and then he was just walking around. Nobody really knew who he was, but after that happened, his career started just on an upward, began to go on an upward trajectory, started getting all these other roles. And I mean, that's pretty much what it is. But like, it's awesome. Just like Carrie Walgren before, she's very passionate as well, and she's also another legend in voice acting. Darren DePaul's amazing. I've never met Carrie yet. I would love to meet Carrie because she seems fucking amazing as far as and passionate, and I'd love to be surrounded by those kind of and get to know those kind of people because they help reignite passions in yourself. You know, when you're trying to struggle through and trying to achieve your dreams. So I think that's amazing. So Darren, and then after that, they talk Darren. Before they leave, they talk about certain things that are coming, and he gave us a sneak peek of this trailer. Let me tell you something. This trailer is nuts. It's amazing. It's what I thought was going to happen. You gotta remember, long before Darth Sidious, there was Darth Vitiate. There was Tenebrae. He was the evil entity that was not nearly like Abeloth from Legends. If you guys don't know who Abeloth is, if you guys seen Clone Wars, the animated TV show, there was a father, the son, and the daughter. The daughter represents light side, the son represents the dark side, and the father was balance. And Abeloth was an entity that could not be controlled. She was more powerful than the father, and she pretty much was an endless void of dark side energy that Luke had to fight or attempt to stave off in Legends continuity, which no longer exists really. But before that, it was just Tenebrae. He just ate so many souls, and I always knew, because the thing about it is that like he disappeared, but just like when they brought back Darth Sidious, I knew Vitiate was going to come back in SWTOR. And he's, to me, because of Darren DePaul, and this is why I want to hook all this together, it's become that much more compelling. Because some people first upset, because how do you follow up, again, the guy who did the voice of Pinhead in Hellraiser was the voice of Vitiate. You know, how do you follow that up? And then Darren DePaul does it, and it's just so captivating, compelling, and uses his lines to tell the story. Lines written by Charles Boyd, but with his, I am Emperor of Alcorian. You will inherit nothing but the dirt. Like that kind of like charismatic, low malice kind of voice of supreme authority. Like that. And he had it was amazing. Like, it really was amazing. And I was so excited to play. And it's still, you know, thankful that I have a continuation of a game to play. But that's the kind of stuff that's powerful, and so all kudos to him. He's an amazing guy. And again, once everything opens back up, hopefully people start taking this stuff seriously. Maybe we can have another Cantina event, and Mr. DePaul you guys can go meet him because he's worth every visit. Also met, just the side note, he didn't appear here, but the new companion who's a cyborg kind of, or android Jedi, I met, also does the voice of Peter Parker in, I don't know if it's this one too, but he did it in the original Spider-Man PS4 game. So
take care.
That's something. If you want to go back, it's one of the Cantina event videos, and Max Middleman was his name. It should be in there. You can listen to it. And that's pretty much what I'm talking about from when I went to there. So without further ado, I guys want to show you a little bit of this trailer, and oh my God, you guys are going to enjoy this. All right.
The circle closes. The end begins.
That your achievements outweighed your losses. That your sacrifices meant something. Anything.
After all that I have done, all that I have enslaved, all that I have destroyed, you should have known. You do not know the true face of power, but you will.